In Laboratory Reddit, today's story is...
My daughter excluded me from her wedding when she found out about my new marriage, but she didn't know the unforgivable secret of her perfect deceased father. I find myself in a complicated situation. I am 55 years old and recently married Barry, 61, after going out together for a year and a half, and my daughter Linda, 29, has not taken it well. She was already upset because I started dating someone shortly after her father passed away, and when we decided to get married, she completely exploded. My husband Martin died 3 years ago after suffering from brain cancer for a year. A few months after his diagnosis, he confessed something devastating to me. He had been cheating on me for 12 years with one of my closest friends. He revealed this to me because he believed that, before he died, I deserved to know the truth. He thought that his illness was a punishment for having lied to me and hurt me for so long. I almost decided to divorce her, but she begged me not to. She also begged me not to tell our daughter because she wanted to spend quality time with her before she passed away. She pointed out that after her death, the marriage would dissolve anyway. He was right. A divorce would have been unnecessary, costly, and complicated, so I decided to stay. Months after the diagnosis, it became clear that he would not survive. The disease was already advanced when he was diagnosed, and, although the doctors did everything they could, we knew there was no way to save him. When he finally passed away, I felt mostly relieved, rather than sad, because I was finally free. That year was extremely painful for me, staying with him, even though I knew he had deceived me for more than a decade. The only reason I stayed by his side was because I knew he wouldn't survive, and he had begged me so much. It seemed wrong to abandon him like that. We slept in separate rooms and barely spoke, unless Linda was present. At night, I would hear him talking to my friend, his lover, on the phone, and some days she would even come to visit him without me being able to say anything. I just had to put up with it, because I knew he would eventually pass away. I was just doing my best to make sure a dying man went out with comfort. In his last days, he apologized profusely, he cried a lot, I cried too, and he told me that I really didn't deserve it. He advised me that after his departure, I should tell Linda the truth about him and move on with my life. It was extremely difficult and painful, but somehow I got through it. About a year and a half later, I met Barry through friends. They knew the truth and introduced us. We got on very well. By then, I still hadn't found a way to tell Linda the truth because I didn't even know where to start. If I revealed it to her, I would also have to tell her that for a long time, while her father was suffering, I knew everything about him, but I had hidden it from her and pretended normality. I didn't know how to do it. I decided that maybe I would tell her after I started dating someone, or maybe I wouldn't tell her at all, because I knew she was very attached to her father, and I didn't want to ruin that image for her. I started dating Barry, and for a couple of months we kept it a secret. After 4 months together, we decided to tell Linda, but she didn't take it well. She was cold and distant with Barry, and told me that she hoped I would have waited longer, out of respect for my marriage and to honor her father, by not dating other men for at least a few more months. This happened the first time she met Barry, and I thought about telling her the truth then. But days later, before I could call her to reveal what I knew, she called to tell me that she would be leaving for a year on a work assignment in Singapore. It was an exciting opportunity, but I knew she would be lonely there. I decided to wait a little longer because I didn't want to tell her something so important just before she started such a big project. I didn't want to worry her. During her year away, I didn't say anything. She knew I was still with Barry, and she made it clear that she didn't approve, but she didn't make a big deal out of it either. About 4 months ago, she finally came back, and I thought maybe I could tell her. But then her boyfriend proposed to her, and she was so happy that I didn't have the heart to tell her yet, so I decided to wait. 3 weeks ago, Barry asked me to move in with him because he was not getting any younger. His wife had passed away many years ago, his children had their own lives, and he wanted to be with me. I thought about it for a few days, and then suggested that maybe we could elope. I was tired of living on other people's terms. For once, I just wanted to do something that made me happy. So last week we got married in a church with just our friends present. We decided that we could have a bigger ceremony and reception later, but for now, this would be enough. I didn't invite my daughter or other relatives because I knew there would be many questions about my ex, and since no one else knew the truth apart from my friends and Barry, I didn't want to deal with that at the moment. 2 days later, I finally called Linda with the intention of telling her about my marriage to Barry and once and for all, revealing the truth about her father. As soon as I told her about my wedding to Barry, she exploded and accused me of having cheated on her father, saying that this was just as bad, since he was barely cold in the grave and I was already with other men. She said it was disgusting and that she never wanted to speak to me again. She told me that she didn't want me at her wedding. Nor did she want my new husband there either, because I was clearly trying to replace her father, and she assured me that no one could ever do that, so it was pointless to try. She called me pathetic and said she couldn't believe that her father had loved someone like me, willing to replace him in the blink of an eye. I was deeply offended, and although I had initially planned to reveal it to him delicately, I couldn't do it. I told her everything I knew about her father, his affair, everything I had done for him in his last days, and why exactly I hadn't been able to tell her the truth for so long, because I had always put her feelings before mine. But clearly she didn't care about my feelings, so I no longer felt the need to look after hers either. I told her exactly what kind of things her father did and how I had forgiven him, and now, just because I was living my life on my own terms, she had a problem with me. I told her that after all the horrible things she had said to me, I didn't even want to attend her wedding, and then I hung up. We didn't speak for a few days, and then her fiancé's parents called me. They started blaming me for everything. They told me that instead of trying to protect her feelings, I should have been honest from the start, because she's a grown woman and she could have handled it. Now she's miserable, she's collapsed emotionally, and they accuse me of ruining her wedding because there are only 2 months to go, but now she's in no condition to get married because she's been devastated since our last conversation. I can't help thinking that maybe this is my fault, that maybe I ruined things by trying to protect her feelings too much. I just don't know what to think anymore. Do you think I'm the bad guy here for lying to my daughter? Addition. As you have many questions, here is the explanation. My daughter was always closer to her father than to me. I don't know what it was exactly, they were just very similar in character since she was little. And they got along better. I never took it as an offense. I was glad they loved each other so much, and I loved my husband too. As long as we were happy, I didn't care who she loved more. For Linda, her father has always been the epitome of everything good, and that's why I hesitated so much before telling her the truth about him, because I didn't want to destroy that image. I lost my father when I was about her age, and I know I would have hated to be told anything that made me think of him in a less than perfect way. I was just trying to protect her. I guess I overdid it, and I shouldn't have lied to her for so long, but I didn't really mean to hurt her. I didn't want to make her miserable. She's my daughter. Of course I wanted her to be happy. But I also want to be happy myself, and until now I've always done everything to please others. Just once I wanted to be happy, and I wanted her to be happy for me too. I didn't think it was too much to ask. And I know it might seem like I'm playing the victim right now, but I'm really exhausted. I love my daughter, I always have, and I didn't want our relationship to deteriorate so much. But in the last few months, things have really gotten worse. I knew she wasn't going to accept that I had married Barry. I knew she was going to be very upset, so I tried to avoid the drama and eloped with him. That doesn't mean I don't love her. Of course I love her, and I always will. But I think I should be allowed to love myself too. Update 1. It's been a week since my last post, and I understand what everyone has said about the situation. I understand the opinions and emotions surrounding it, and I'm trying to understand Linda's point of view too. I completely understand why she feels betrayed by me, and especially by her father, and I am giving her space at the moment. I don't need to interact with her fiancé's parents. I don't owe them an explanation. We have hardly had much contact in the past. I have met them a couple of times over the last 3 years, and they seemed like nice people. But I really don't think this is any of their business. I don't think I'm ruining the wedding at all. There are still 2 months to go. And it's not as if my daughter has said she's going to cancel everything and cry for the rest of her life. She has discovered something that has changed everything she knew about her father and about me too. Naturally, she will need time to process all this and get back to normal. It's an important issue. She needs time to accept things and deal with it. Whatever happens, my daughter and I are perfectly capable of resolving this on our own. I really don't think it's anyone else's place, especially theirs, to accuse me of anything. They are not even concerned about my daughter's mental health. They are only worried about losing the deposit if she decides to cancel the wedding. And once again, she has never said anything like that. She is simply taking her time, and at the moment she is upset and wants to be left alone. And that is why they have exaggerated the problem. I am saying this because a couple of days after the phone call with them, my daughter's fiancé called me. He told me he was very sorry about what his parents had told me. He told me he had spoken to Linda and was trying to get her to talk to me, but right now she just doesn't want to talk to anyone. Every time he has tried to bring the subject up with me, she has either refused to talk about it or simply said she is tired and doesn't want to discuss it. I can guess that she's probably going through a lot, because Linda isn't one to avoid difficult subjects. But here she is actively trying not to talk about this because she knows it's complicated. So she's probably very upset and doesn't know how to feel about any of it. I don't blame her. I don't know how to feel about it either right now. Barry and I obviously feel terrible about everything that's happening, and we think I could have handled the situation better. But it's over now. I just hope she'll talk to me soon and we can deal with the situation together, because I really feel like this is something we can work out. I don't think either of us is inherently wrong in this situation. It's just that the situation isn't black and white, so it's hard to tell who's right and who's wrong. There isn't a single answer to that, and I just wanted her to understand that, so we can talk about it and get through this. Because whatever happens, she's still my daughter, and I love her very much. I don't want to lose my relationship with her, especially after all I've done to protect her feelings. It would be quite counterproductive. It's also been very difficult for me over the last few years trying to look after her feelings and keep secrets. But I had to do it because I believed I was doing it for her own good. And now that the truth has come out, I don't want all that to be wasted, so I really hope she also understands my position and tries to get in touch with me soon. I will give her space because I think that's what she needs most. I understand that she is still trying to process everything. She can take her time, but in a few weeks, if she doesn't get in touch with me first, then maybe I will. Until then, I'm going to keep in touch with her fiancé because I want to know how he is. I don't want him to break down emotionally. I'm not going to interact with her fiancé's parents because, as I said, they don't know anything about our relationship and it's not their place to say anything. Update 2. It's been 2 weeks since my daughter and I last spoke. Since then, I have only kept in touch with her fiancé, who has been keeping me informed about everything that is happening with her. As I mentioned in my last update, she had refused to talk about me or discuss anything related to her family for the past few days. But today, I don't know what change came over her. She finally decided to talk to her fiancé about me. She told him that she would like to talk to me because she had been thinking about it a lot, and obviously the situation was not as easy to solve as she had initially thought. She wanted to get to the bottom of something, so she wanted to talk to me. He passed that message on to me, and we decided to meet for lunch a couple of hours ago. I invited her to the house, and as Barry thought this would be a better conversation between the two of us, he decided to go out with some friends while she was here. Personally, I appreciated that gesture. But when Linda arrived, she noticed that Barry wasn't at home, and she told me that he didn't need to leave, because ultimately this was his house and we could live our lives as we wanted. We didn't need to worry about her judging us. That's what she said right at the beginning, and it pretty much set the tone for the meeting. After we sat down and made some light conversation about her and the wedding preparations, she told me that she was really sorry for her behavior. She confessed that she had been immature the whole time. She said that even if I hadn't told her what I knew, she still had no excuse for behaving like that. She explained that she had just been feeling very defensive because she couldn't explain why I was suddenly with Barry, when it hadn't even been that long since her father had passed away. And of course she had taken his death very hard, they had been very close, and it had been a big loss for her, and I could understand that. That's basically why he had kept this side of his father a secret for so long, because he didn't want to hurt her. And she told me that, although she really appreciated what he had done for her, she really wished he had been more honest and open with her, because that would have saved us both a lot of pain and anguish. And I have to say that I agree. She told me that during the last 2 weeks she had been thinking about how she had behaved towards me, when all the time I had been trying to protect her. She said she was really sorry for everything, and although she couldn't take it back, she wanted me to know that now that she knew the truth, things were going to be different. Obviously, she was still very hurt by what her father had done, and nothing could make her think of him in the same way as before. She would definitely try to remember him fondly, but she would never be able to forget the truth. And the fact that he had passed away didn't change that what he had done to me was terrible. As we discussed it, I got a little emotional, and she comforted me. And it was a great gesture for me, because given recent events, I thought this was never going to happen. But when I knew she was sitting right next to me, telling me that everything was going to be okay, I believed her wholeheartedly. We both ended up crying, and she told me she was going to try to meet with Barry and be a little more receptive to him too, because she had treated him very badly too, all because she was confused, and as an adult that was no excuse for her behavior. After all, I was my own person and had my own identity apart from being her mother. And she told me that she was really happy that I had chosen to move on and live my life the way I wanted to, instead of waiting for her permission or approval. And it really made me happy that she had finally come to that conclusion for herself. Because it's not that I didn't enjoy being a mother, I loved it. It was my favorite thing in the world. But ultimately, I really was my own person. I had my own desires, and I was more than a mother too. That was all I wanted her to say from the start. And now that she had finally said it, I was over the moon. We discussed a couple more things, and I told her that she had made the right decision in marrying her fiancé, because he was a really wonderful man, and she should hold on to him. We talked some more, then she laughed, and we parted on good terms. She also told me that she would obviously love it if I were at the wedding, and that she would ask her future in-laws to apologize to me too, because they had no right to get involved like that, especially when the situation didn't require them to get involved. She hadn't said anything to them, and her fiancé had simply made the mistake of telling them what had happened. But even then, they had no right to call me and tell me all that. Nobody had asked them to do it, and in the last 2 weeks she hadn't spoken to them even once, because she was quite annoyed with them for jumping to conclusions. She told me she would talk to them about it and make them apologize, but I told her it wasn't necessary. If they didn't want to do it, it was completely fine. I just didn't want her to get stressed out. After all, I don't really care what they thought or said. It doesn't matter to me, and it should be the same for her. They're her fiancé's parents, and they are getting married very soon, so there's no need for her to get involved in this mess. She just needs to concentrate on her wedding and what's coming for her, and that's it. She seemed a bit undecided about that, but in the end, she didn't say much about it before leaving. Anyway, I'm just glad we were able to sort things out, and I really look forward to being part of her wedding. In fact, after she's finished with all that, I'm planning to organize a little ceremony and reception of my own. But, of course, that will be much later, probably after she gets back from her honeymoon. We even discussed it today, and she's really happy for me. And we had a great time, after a long time. I really think I could have saved us both a lot of pain if I had simply been honest with her from the start, instead of trying to look after her feelings, because telling her the truth has made me feel much lighter, and has made her understand what had been happening over the last few years as well. She finally has an explanation, and I finally have the freedom I've been trying to get for myself for so long. Anyway, I'm just happy that we could talk and get back on good terms. Maybe this will bring us even closer than we used to be before, or at least I hope so. Update 3. It's been a few months since my last update, and next week Linda is getting married. She's excited, and I've been actively participating in the last-minute preparations for the wedding, and it's been very exciting. We have been strengthening our relationship, and it has gone very well. She has gotten to know me much better, not just as her mother, but as the person I really am apart from that role. And I think I have gotten to know her much better too, because many things have changed in the last few years after my ex-husband passed away. We had become very distant, so I think we are rediscovering each other, and it is going quite well. Her fiancé's parents didn't apologize to me, even though Linda had told them that she wasn't happy with what they had done, but they said that they had done what they thought was important and that they weren't going to apologize for it. So things with them are a bit tense right now, but neither Linda nor her fiancé are worried about that. They're just happy that they're getting married soon, and they can't seem to worry about anything else. And I'm quite happy for them too. I don't care if her fiancé's parents apologize to me or not, because, like I said, they're not that important to me. But I think it's sweet that she tried, even if it did cause her problems. Anyway, nothing can ruin their big day. I know this because I see nothing but love between the two of them, and it's so pure and beautiful that nothing can stand in its way. She's asked me to walk her down the aisle, and I'm going to do it. And I'll do it as the happiest woman on earth. Barry will be there too, and it seems that he and Linda are getting on quite well too. So I think my family is coming together, and I couldn't be happier.